It's a life, we live it this way. Together we play. We are IMA. From the beginning till the end of this day, we move and we sway. Together we stay. We'll take your hand and help you through the mistakes. Whatever it takes, we'll find a brand new place. We'll join our hand in hands and then we'll fly till the end of the time, till our worries will die. We'll do it our way, the IMA way. IMA. It's a dream to be at our best. We fight on our own with no room for rest. It's a dream to be at our best. We fight on our own with no room for rest. And it's a legacy that we want to leave. Make them all believe there will be no relief. And all the world will follow us on our tracks, turning white from the black, just like raising the flag. We'll do it our way, the IMA way.
Indore Management Association, in its 50th year of celebration, very cordially welcomes you, sir and ma'am, and expresses its gratitude for your presence amongst us today. I request Mr. Ravi Mohan, Chairman IMA, to kindly invite our honored guests to light the traditional lamp to bless the proceedings, please. Mr. Ravi Mohan ji.
At an age of 28, he took up the mantle of leading the huge Birla empire. There were doubts about his abilities to spearhead this giant business house. People thought that he was too young to handle this mammoth spread and carry the grand legacy ahead. But Kumar Mangalam Birla was a Birla to the core. With the strength of his conviction and leadership abilities, he has not only gone on to answer the skeptics, but also to catapult the group to unimaginable heights. Today, Kumar Mangalam Birla has multiplied the group's turnover by almost 20 times. But his biggest achievement lies in transforming this traditional business house into a corporation of the future. An astute leader, Kumar Mangalam Birla recognized the importance of acquisitions in expanding his business quite early. He has snapped up over 22 companies in the past 15 years in India as well as abroad, including Novelis in Canada and Ultratech Cement in India. Ever vigilant about the changing times and needs, he diversified into segments that would drive the growth in coming times. Under his aegis, the group ventured into emerging sectors like telecom, BPO, software, media and retail, while also consolidating its traditional strongholds. A man of broad vision, he envisaged the entire world as his playing field. Under him, the Aditya Birla Group went on to transcend geographical boundaries and today has operations in 42 countries. A striking 60% of its revenue flows from overseas operations, and over 130,000 people work for it globally. Kumar Mangalam Birla also stressed a lot upon the internal transformation of the group. He laid a set of values, nurtured meritocracy, and undertook initiatives that instilled a sense of pride in working for the group, while almost making it a frontrunner in the list of global top companies for leaders. And as the group continues to take India to the world, the man who has made it future-ready can be assured of a tomorrow that is as bright as its corporate identity, the rising sun.
तो मुझे कुछ अनहोनी सी चमक दिखाई थी। यूं तो चांदनी रात में ही ध्रुव तारा चमकता है, लेकिन आज कुमार मंगलम बिरला जी के अवतार में ध्रुव तारा सूर्य के प्रकाश को छूकर हमारे बीच में मौजूद है। The message is never dream at night, howsoever bright it may appear to you, with your eyes closed. Dream during day at work and achieve it, and that will bring a chamak to your achievements, the kind of which the pace has been set as a glorious pace setter by none other than Kumar Mangalam ji. Let us at the beginning in a typically Indore welcome fashion. With an applause and standing ovation. बिरलों में ये बिरला है जिन्होंने मात्र 17 वर्ष में जिस उद्योग में घुसे देश और दुनिया के लिए मंगलम ही मंगलम फैलाया है। ऐसे हैं हमारे आज के प्रमुख अतिथि गगन बिहारी और गगन चुंबी कुमार मंगलम बिरला। It's a rare privilege for us to welcome this catalytic avatar of innovation to set the tone for IMA Golden Jubilee Conclave. We are blessed today to have the right person with us, and if I may tell him, with the right people and at the right place. Sir, the most valuable lesson for us present here in this large numbers, over 3,000 young management students, as well as numerous young and old entrepreneurs and professionals assembled here, is to imbibe your vision, look within, look around, and look beyond. Aspire to be the first man forward and not the last man standing. Before presenting the formal citation, allow me, sir, to welcome you also as per Malvi tradition of regarding the Jawai of an Indore origin family as entire Indore's Jawai Raja. एक बार नहीं, बार-बार पधारो, पलक पावड़ा बिछाए ने हमेशा आपको स्वागत करेगा। And now may I call for the citation AV. May I in the meantime request fellow members of the Board of Directors of IMA to join us on the stage for the formal ceremony.
A charismatic corporate business leader and a visionary catalyst with a global mindset. Youthful and dynamic, Dr. Kumar Mangalam Birla has demonstrated remarkable capabilities to catapult the Aditya Birla Group into the future both nationally and globally. Leading from the front with bold strokes and smart judgment, he has changed the profile of the century-old Birla Group. Under him, the group has rapidly moved towards a multifaceted growth trajectory across 6 continents and 36 countries. He assumed the chairmanship of the group in 1995 at the age of 28 after the sudden demise of his father, Mr. Aditya Birla. Since then, he has led the group with exemplary grit and conviction. In a short span of 27 years, the turnover of the group has reached to a level of $40 billion and is set to touch $65 billion by 2015. It is significant that well over 40% of the group's turnover is from global operations and value-creating acquisitions and mergers. Kumar Mangalamji's visionary leadership has transformed the Birla Group into a future-ready conglomerate. Under his enlightened leadership, the group's ever-widening business base covers impressive industrial segments ranging from chemicals, aluminium, copper, minerals, carbon black to cement, textiles, telecom, financial services, insurance, retail trading, and education. This fact reflects his keenness towards business expansion. People, profits, and CSR have guided the operations of the group till date. This is evident in its progressive human resource management policies, stress on meritocracy, value-based governance, and skill development, together with the pursuit of ethical values and commitment towards social upliftment. IMA salutes this outstanding leader who has an immense repertoire of leadership competencies, giving equal thrust to all pillars of competitive edge, cost, quality, customization, speedy response to emerging opportunities, and ethical governance. IMA feels greatly privileged in honoring such an iconic individual in its Golden Jubilee year at the IMA International Management Conclave 2013, transforming leadership, getting future ready.
Thank you, Dr. Jain. IMA today feels privileged to bestow this recognition on the global Indian icon, Dr. Birla.
The chairman of the Aditya Birla Group, Dr. Kumar Mangalam Birla, has imparted a new dimension to the term leadership in the corporate world. An MBA from the London Business School, Dr. Kumar Mangalam Birla took over the chairmanship of the group at the age of 28. With his leadership of courage and conviction, he has led it to become a $40 billion conglomerate today, with operations in 36 countries across 6 continents. Under him, the group has established strong footprints in a wide range of business sectors, including telecom, textiles, chemicals, retail, agribusiness, and many more. A man of multiple responsibilities, Dr. Kumar Mangalam Birla handles them all with equal elan. He chairs the boards of the national and international companies of the group. He also holds key positions on various regulatory and professional boards and has served on the Prime Minister of India's Advisory Council on Trade and Industry. Deeply dedicated to the cause of education, he is also the Chancellor of the renowned Birla Institute of Technology and Science, BITS. Honours and adulations have followed Dr. Kumar Mangalam Birla in plenty. His list of awards features some of the most prestigious names like the Forbes India Leadership Award, Entrepreneur of the Year 2012, NASSCOM's Global Business Leader Award 2012, and many more. He also holds the distinction of being the only industrialist appointed as the public nominee on the governing board of SEBI. All one can say about him is, what a leader, Sirji. IMA takes great pride in conferring the shining icon of courageous leadership with the IMA National Business Icon Award.
Mr. Ravi Mohan, Mr. Jagdish Verma, Mr. Shamit Dave, Mr. Vijay Goel, Mr. Amit Vidasalia, students, ladies and gentlemen. It is an honor for me to receive this very coveted award, the National Indian Business Icon of the Year Award, instituted by the Indore Management Association, particularly during your Golden Jubilee year. I want to heartily congratulate you on this milestone. Present with me here today are 2 of my senior colleagues who have been pillars of strength in this journey for me. Dr. Sansrut Mishra, who is our Group Director for HR and the Government Black Business, and Dr. Pragya Ram, who is our Head of Communication Strategies. Maybe you can just stand up and take a bow. I'm delighted to receive this award on behalf of all the 136,000 members of the Aditya Birla family. I've been asked to speak today on transformational leadership, preparing for the future. To begin with, I think change and transformation are often used terms that are used interchangeably, and I believe that it is important to be able to distinguish between the two. Change is most often incremental or evolutionary. On the other hand, transformation is revolutionary. Change is many small shifts. Transformation is one large shift that fundamentally alters an organization's strategy, culture, processes, or the type and quality of dialogue that would define the grammar of an organization. Let me give you an example closer home. To me, transformation is Sachin Tendulkar retiring from one-day international cricket, and change is the team learning to cope without him. Transformation is a complex, many-layered process, requires new skills, systems, processes, and more often than not, a different way of thinking altogether to achieve its objectives. Of these, acquiring new skills and the ability to think in a radically different manner are often, in our experience, the most difficult part of any transformational process. To me, transformation involves 4 critical skills to be developed in an organization. Skills that are referred to as OIIA. I'm not having a speech impediment or I'm not fascinated by vowels. OIIA stands for observation, intuition, innovation, and action. Let me give you an example of transformation in a macro global context. Energy as in fuel could have a huge geopolitical consequence. The US will soon become a net exporter of energy because of new technologies like the fracking technology in regard to oil and natural gas. It has consistently over the years reduced its dependence on foreign oil, which is now down to under 50%. That should give it far more freedom of movement in the kind of dialogue that it can have with the Middle East, much closer to the kind of Middle East that we and the world would want to see. This would be, to me, a tectonic transformation in geopolitical dynamics. This is the kind of large fundamental shift that proves to be more often than not irreversible and of very high impact. Let me give you examples from the Aditya Birla group on the dynamics of OIIA, which is observation, intuition, innovation, and action. So, an example of observation to start with. When we bought the cement business of L&T, it was based on the observation, or an in-depth study, if you can call it that world over, it is size and scale that determine who the winners will be in the cement industry. We paid a price that, in my own admission, was then exorbitant. It was almost like an IPL team paying more money for one player than the rest of the team, simply on the strength of his stature and reputation. To get returns from this investment was a real slog, and I give credit to the cement team that they could get value from this investment. That was, for us, a transformational move. We are today the largest cement company in the country, the 8th largest in the world. We are also the most valued cement company globally in terms of capacity vis-a-vis market capitalization. So that's an observation. About intuition. When Hindalco bought Novelis, a company 3 times its size, the decision was based largely on intuition of what the future of that industry would be. Intuition for us in turn is a derivative of accumulated experience that shapes judgment. We believed then that the future of commodity prices, in this case aluminium, which Hindalco manufactures, would be highly volatile. The movement of speculative money in and out of commodities would make pricing very volatile and disconnected from the fundamentals of demand and supply in the market. This means that earnings and cash flows too would become highly unpredictable. So it was as if we would be playing Russian roulette with the fortunes of the company. Novelis, we believe, would counter that volatility. Novelis is in the business of rolling aluminium, a value-added product to aluminium, in which it is the global leader. The rolling business is far less volatile, earnings are far steadier, and therefore much more predictable. Adding the rolling business to Hindalco through Novelis, we thought would reduce the overall volatility of earnings and cash flows of the company. On making this $6 billion acquisition, the size of Hindalco at one fell swoop catapulted from $5 billion to $12 billion in terms of market capital employed. This was again for us truly transformational. It obviously involved huge risk, which is where we took a studied yet an intuitive call. From being an Indian company, Hindalco was now a truly global one, with manufacturing locations in 13 countries, which include the Americas, Germany, Luxembourg, France, Switzerland, Italy, Brazil, Korea, Malaysia, Australia, and of course, India. Our intuition on de-risking is clearly being recognized by the markets now. So also any transformational process entails an innovative approach, since the context, which is most often driven by the external environment, has changed irrevocably. For example, on innovation, imagine if Apple was to transform its approach and direction and turn its focus to becoming more institutional as against retail, which it is today, hypothetically. It would need innovation in very large doses. It would require innovation in product strategy, in customer segmentation, in marketing approach, as also the kind of people that it would now need to employ. Since transformation is about making a fundamental shift, innovation in the way that things are done in the new context must go hand in hand for the transformation to be truly successful. To give you an example from our group company, Aditya, which is the third largest mobile operator in the country, based on profiling of its existing customer base, Aditya believes that it needed a new approach to its communication strategy to appeal to the 10 to 15-year-olds. So came Honey Bunny. Honey Bunny, as some of you might know, has gone hugely viral and pulled in this population of children by appealing to their sensibilities. That to me is innovation at its best. By the way, I'm also told that the kids have suddenly begun to eat much more of pumpkin, and that's making their mom very happy. So that's an additional loyal customer base for us. And finally, actioning. Smart and sharp execution is imperative for any transformation to reach fruition. Without this, even the most brilliant strategy would come to naught. Execution, its planning, and the ability to stay focused till its implementation is, I believe, a competence in itself. Very often, transformational exercises fail because of what I call last mile exhaustion, or the loss of energy, enthusiasm, and focus to complete the execution of a project successfully. So batting well throughout the slog overs is extremely critical. So observation, intuition, innovation, and action are the mantras that we employ in the Aditya Birla Group to keep the organization future ready. Learning these capabilities and continuously fine-tuning these skills, we believe, is the most effective way for preparing to compete for the future. It is not that we succeed every time, but to the credit of our teams, I would say that our batting average and our strike rate so far has been very strong. If transformation is about having certain skills, then the most important requirement for successful organizational transformation is, without doubt, the quality of leadership in that company. And not just leadership at the top, but leadership across the length and breadth of the company. These are people or leaders who we call transformational leaders, who proactively and aggressively drive the change agenda. They become connectors between different teams across the organization to make the transformational agenda successful. Which brings us to the question, what is transformational leadership? I believe transformational leadership is leadership that goes far beyond the trappings of hierarchies, authority, and power. It helps shape an organization's very DNA. I believe that good transformational leadership involves nurturing people and their skills. In our group parlance, these are people with exceptional OIIA capabilities. Leaders are truly transformational when they move followers to go beyond their self-interests for the good of their group, organization, or society at large. I believe transformation is about turning aspirations into reality. It is about converting setbacks into opportunities. Transformational leadership is about taking people onto an altogether different plane. These leaders typically ask for sacrifice, for blood, toil, tears and sweat. But then the rewards are always worthy. Let me give you an example. Think about what Shane Warne did to the motley Rajasthan Royals bunch during the first IPL, purely on the strength of his leadership capabilities. More specifically, in the context of our group, let me mention that the hallmark of our leadership development efforts has been our belief in taking bets on people. And by that, I certainly don't mean that we've started any kind of bookie service. But seriously speaking, our belief largely stems from our innate trust in people's ability to stretch and to learn. Our entrepreneurial DNA also encourages us to take risks with people, of course, with giving them the right inputs. We believe that people, all of us, all of you students, are endowed with immense capability. Our task is to spot talent early in their careers and provide them with suitable opportunities to try their hand at and test their skills with. Our investment in people processes has enabled that we have a robust bench strength of talent. Our entire focus is on ensuring that people move up the ladder purely on merit. Therefore, we are creating, in effect, what we would call a meritocracy. This pool of talent is developed through a series of planned exposures, assignments, and training opportunities so that they are prepared to take on larger leadership roles as and when these opportunities emerge. Our in-house learning university, which is called Gyanodaya, partners with several global institutions and corporations for collaborative learning. More than 1,000 senior executives annually take courses at Gyanodaya, courses that are meant to specifically impart practical skills in order for them to improve their productivity at work. Furthermore, we have institutionalized global career paths, driven both by the needs of the individual and the organization's needs. To a great extent, this allows an individual to take charge of his or her own career, which for the most talented ones would be one that would give them exposure in countries across the world. Someone I was recently interviewing thought that taking charge of your own career meant that he could actually decide his own salary. That definitely is not the case, but an individual does get the chance to chart his own career. So we leverage vacancies across the group and we encourage talent to move around by identifying and moving leaders across geographies and functions and into new roles as part of the career development process. To give you some statistics of fast-tracking talent, since April 2011, from a management cadre consisting of 37,600 colleagues, 15%, that is 5,824 have been promoted. 18%, that is 6,480 have actually moved roles, and 12%, that is 4,545 have actually moved location. The other day I was rolling off these statistics to a friend and he suggested that ABG could perhaps acquire a global transportation plus freight business, and that would make all the movement of talent much more cost effective. A few more friends like this and you know where I'll be headed. Additionally, from our employees we seek feedback in an institutionalized way. We conduct conversations with our people across the group to gauge their engagement with the group. We call this Vibes. The Vibes survey is carried out by a global reputed external HR research agency. This year, 94% of our 35,000 executives participated in the Vibes survey, which is an indication of their high engagement with the group. It was very heartening to know that 92% of employees have an overwhelming sense of pride in our group. More than 80% are engaged employees, and again, over 90% say that they understand the connect between their work and the overall goals of the business. These scores are, I believe, much higher than global mean scores. Today, we are also reckoned as an employer of choice that offers a world of opportunities for talent. Our group has been ranked 4th in the world and 1st in Asia Pacific in the top companies for leaders study of 2011 carried by Fortune magazine. But having said that, the challenge is to keep at it. There is never any room for complacency. Let me now quickly turn to the story of our group's transformation, how a very traditional organization became a contemporary, globe-girdling MNC. Our transformational voyage has been exciting and fascinating, but with its intermittent points of pain. We carry forward an outstanding legacy bequeathed by my father, the late Aditya Birla. His business approach was people-focused and founded on the highest standards of integrity and ethics. Even as we have retained this business ethos, we have transformed. And let me talk you through our narrative. So let's flash back to the 1990s. At the time that I came into this role, India was in the thick of the reform process. The changing business landscape called for new thinking, new ideas, new attitudes. Even then, the group was a highly successful and respected group. However, the environment around was transforming at a lightning speed. Tariffs had come down, India was getting integrated with the rest of the world economy, the FIIs were a far more demanding investor group, foreign competition was at our doorsteps. We had to move away from a mindset that was based on decades of market dominance to one based on a future in which competitive pressures would be far, far more intense across industries. This would call for large-scale upgradation of people's skills as well as induction from talent outside the organization. So importantly, transformation in our case was not a journey from failure to success. We had to transform ourselves in order to remain successful in the new world order. We needed to transform, not a cosmetic transformation, but a fundamental change in the way that we operated. Today, when we look back at the group's transformational journey over the last 14 years, some facts stand out which I would like to share with you. From a $2 billion turnover then, we have grown to $40 billion this year. About 53% of our revenues now come from our overseas operations. The stretch of our overseas operations has expanded from 8 countries to 36 countries. Our portfolio of businesses has expanded from manufacturing to service sectors, among them financial services, retailing and telecom. The percentage of women in the executive cadre has risen from 1% to 20% and continues to be on the rise. Our workforce has increased from 50,000 people to 136,000 people, of whom 25,000 are foreign nationals. From being a workforce that was culturally homogeneous, we have now become much more multicultural. Our employees are from 8 nationalities and 42 countries. The average age of our employees, which was 56 years in 2000, is today under 40. Yet another major plank of our transformation has been the shift from organic growth to inorganic growth. And by organic and inorganic, I'm not referring to our fertilizer business. Up until 1995, our focus was on organic growth or greenfield development. Fast forwarding our growth and market position with well-considered acquisitions seemed to be the logical thing for us to do then. So in the last 17 years, we have made 26 acquisitions globally and in the group and in India, which has helped us grow faster and also to bolster our business strengths. At the end of the day, if our voyage has been fruitful, it is because of our 136,000 colleagues across 36 countries who feel an overwhelming sense of pride in belonging to the group. Our people give our group its fortitude, our people believe and live the values of our group, and they are our group's backbone. The Indian economy, as we know, is going through a bit of a bad phase now, but I can assure you that this phase is not here to stay. The dark clouds of uncertainty will soon pass. Sunnier and more rewarding times await the world of commerce. Having been fortunate enough to garner first-hand global experience over the years, I can tell you for a fact that Indian entrepreneurship is unmatched the world over. All we need are the right platforms, infrastructure, and policy decisions to make our presence felt even more strongly. We must not forget that our inherent resourcefulness is our biggest strength, and business at the end of the day is in our very DNA. However, we need to think even bigger and set our goals, standards, and dreams much higher. We have to believe that the world is our playground and that the ball now is in our court. Thank you again for this honor and for the opportunity to share my thoughts with you.
40 billion dollars, more than 40 countries. The group has to keep transforming 24/7 somewhere or the other. We couldn't have got better than Dr. Birla to speak on this transformational topic, whose unit, as we have just heard, has been transforming in and out everywhere. Sir, your insightful talk has given many pointers to us to develop our organizations in the rightful directions to be future ready. The dynamic transformation of Aditya Birla Group to be future ready has been heard in pin drop silence by over 4,000 participants here today. That is an eloquent testimony that how relevant the points that you have made for us is today. Thank you very much, sir. वैसे भी जैसे सर ने कहा कि एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप में हिंदुस्तान की कोई सानी नहीं है, हमारे पास एक चीज़ है जो सारी दुनिया में किसी के पास नहीं है, और वो है बनिया बुद्धि। आप आने वाले कल के लीडर आपको बताया, हार्वर्ड की एक स्टडी हुई थी जिसमें उन्होंने देखा कि ईस्ट के मैनेजर जो हैं वो वेस्ट के मैनेजर से अच्छा परफॉर्म क्यों करते हैं। जो पूरी स्टडी की गई उसमें निकला कि ईस्ट के जो मैनेजर हैं उनमें इंट्यूशन होता है, वो इंट्यूशन लेके काम करते हैं, ब्लैक एंड वाइट में काम नहीं करते हैं, इसलिए वो ज़्यादा सक्सेसफुल होते हैं। हम हिंदुस्तान में उसको बनिया बुद्धि कहते हैं। सर, आई होप दिस हेल्प्स अस इन बिकमिंग द ग्लोबल लीडर समडे। वेल फ्रेंड्स, to commemorate this prestigious event, IMA editorial board, led by its dynamic editor, Mr. Anuj Kothari, has published a commemorative issue in digital and physical forms of our monthly professional publication, Indore Manager. I would cordially request our distinguished guests on the dais to kindly release the commemorative issue. I invite Mr. Ranjan Memani, member editorial board, to please come with other members and get the issue released. Mr. Ranjan Memani, please. Mr. Mahesh Sharma, please. Friends, IMA has always been a futuristic organization. So, our publications henceforth will be coming in digital form. The first such digital publication you can see on the screen, which has been unveiled by Mr. Birla and Ms. Sethi. Friends, IMA has always been a futuristic organization. So, our publications henceforth will be coming in digital form. The first such digital publication you can see on the screen, which has been unveiled by Mr. Birla and Ms. Sethi.